We'll be having panel presentations. We will be hearing from 4 leaders revolutionizing MHHM. Let me invite Mrs. Ina Jurga from WASH United. She's the technical lead for menstrual health and hygiene at WASH United. 11 years ago, she co-initiated and now coordinates the International Menstrual Hygiene Day. She holds a master's degree in civil engineering from University Essen and a master in public policy from University of Berlin. Her work experiences span 22 years in water, sanitation, and hygiene, and 15 years in menstrual health and hygiene. She loves to foster collaboration to ensure collective impact with a focus on innovation and gender equality. So let's hear more from Mrs. Ina. Over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Vinita, for the invite, and hello, dear panelists and participants. It's really my pleasure for this webinar to take place, and AIT is now a brand new official partner for Menstrual Hygiene Day, and of course, that's why I'm here to support you and this wonderful webinar. My presentation that I'm pulling up now is, and give me 1 second to get it into presenter mode. Yes, it should work now. Yeah. Okay. Is about global advocacy for a period-friendly world. So I would like to give you some global framework that we all work in, and then look at some of the solutions or campaigns and initiatives that address some of the major global challenges in this. So my perspective will be global, but I always value really regional, local initiatives. So due to the shortness of time, I can't go into that much details. And from Kyoko, we already had a few aspects, so I'll take a bit of a deep dive. So the first global framework are the Sustainable Development Goals. And menstrual health and hygiene is relevant across many of these goals, for example, on health, education, gender equality, water sanitation, and as well partnerships. But there is no goal or target specifically for menstrual health and hygiene. That the reason is a little bit when back then the SDGs were developed, menstrual health and hygiene has been just an emerging topic, and thus indicators have not been included back then. There's a little bit under education where you talk about gender-friendly facilities and institutions, same for under 6, WASH, but it's not very specific. So as a result, there is limited political priority and no global estimated progress if it's not happening in this global framework. So what is needed is that we really need to push in the post-SDG target discussions. So whatever comes after 2030, that menstrual health and hygiene is represented. And also start harmonizing indicators and data collection via the joint monitoring report. And I will get to that. The human rights are a really critical framework because menstrual health and hygiene, while it's not a human right, it is a really human rights issue that touches upon many rights, such as the right to health, the right to education, and the right to water and sanitation. And vice versa, if good menstrual health and hygiene is available, it contributes to the fulfillment of several rights. And the underlining of all rights is human dignity and well-being. So yes, while there is no dedicated human right, it's a human rights issue. That's important. However, there have been some 2 human rights resolutions. That's a resolution is not a right, but it's a dedicated, it's from the General Assembly where they come together to spell out how important an issue is for them. And here, it's been in the resolutions 2021, 2024, with also a human rights session happening in Geneva in 2023, which was really important. So with all this global human rights framework, it's a chance to use this global framework at your country level, especially in conversations with policymakers, that these are there and that MHH is a human rights issue. And the last global framework I want to touch upon is also what Kyoko has mentioned. It's a few years back, actually 30 years back in Beijing, there was a declaration, Beijing Declaration, that is a global commitment to gender equality to promote the rights of women. And every year, especially around the Commission of Status of Women, there is a reflection. And this year was the 30 years anniversary of the Beijing Declaration, and there's been a progress review, and it's quite encouraging to see. While back 30 years back, menstrual health and hygiene has not been on the radar at all. Now, several countries included in their report how they address menstrual health and hygiene, mostly through period poverty, product distribution initiatives. So it's quite encouraging, but there could be more. So all that with, I would say, menstrual health and hygiene coming more and more to the forefront some 10, 15 years ago, there was really low awareness. But and because of there was low awareness and low relevance of the issue, there were not enough policies and prioritization, and with that also limited funding. Of course, data plays a role because data always informs what policymakers, but also program people do. So, and on the flip side, I want to show you some of the initiatives that address these points on the left side to increase awareness, to support policymaking, and to support funding. So the first aspect, and I think that's of course then dear to my heart because I co-initiated it, is the Menstrual Hygiene Day, celebrated every year on 28 May to symbolize the average menstrual cycle of 28 days and the average days of bleed of 5. So the mission of the Menstrual Hygiene Day is being together for a period-friendly world. Create a period-friendly world where no one is held back because of their menstruation, where products are available, where water is available, everyone is educated about periods, and there's health services and no more taboos, in a very, very nutshell. So the campaign, and this is also similar to what I just already mentioned, there's an increased attention to the issue, and you can really see it also through the campaign grow over the last year. 11 years, hardly, there were a few technical people who start talking about this, but now the world talks, period. Last year, it was roughly 1 billion people who contributed and reached through Menstrual Hygiene Day. We've seen a growth in event on social media and media articles, and also more and more partners working on the issue. Menstrual Hygiene Day is now more than 1,150 partners strong, and I'm happy to see a few partners already here. And so a big shout out, because it's our collaborative effort to make this really happen. I pulled out Thailand because I know AIT is based in Thailand, although you work regionally. So Thailand had last year, for the first time, we were able to measure your social media contributions, and there were more than 7,000 that we could measure. So please keep it going. You're on a good trajectory to add your voice as the country to the cause. So how is MH Day fostering some of this, supporting this global framework? So first of all, government is getting active on MH Day to show their commitment, being it from Bhutan, who committed to make all schools period friendly, ministers to take a stand on MH Day to push their voices, and yeah, just really showing their commitments. Government is often working also with local partners. So I'm wanting to give a shout out to all of you who work with government, to engage them in your events, to give them a role and do advocacy from within, I would just say. Here are just some examples, and there are many, many, many more. Media is a really big ally in creating the awareness and also push for advocacy, because on MH Day, they report on progress and also on progress in policy, on data and so on. So media helps us as a movement to really push for that. And that's what they do on MH Day. So if you have articles or data, please reach out to media because they love to report on this. And I added a slide because Dr. Vinita asked me how to look at how the private sector is leveraging MHD and beyond. So the private sector is an integral part of the MHD movement, and we have partners ranging from the multi-level corporates to small medium enterprises within WASH and so on. And many more also celebrate the day. So I wanted to frame it from like whoever contributes to MHD is fantastic, but there are also one-hit wonders who just engage on the day to donate pads and make a statement to private sector who's active all year round. For them, is really a prime occasion to show what they do over the year round. And of course, I just would love to see corporates being active all year round, because that's really much more credible to your colleagues, but also to your partners and consumers. Or customers. So and also the media, because we also say your customers and partners are not stupid. So it should be original. So yes, one-hit wonders are great, but we've seen private sector active all year round, and this is more credible. And a best specific aspect of private sector to get active all year round is also to look at your own company internally. So how do you create a period-friendly workplace to help your employees manage periods hygienically and safely at the workplace through products, for free products, but also to open conversations within your company. So yeah, we encourage every company to take part in MHD and create a period-friendly world with us together. And we hear more from speakers later on how private sector is engaged. So that is MHD, and I want to quickly, really quickly go through some other global initiative relevant for this global framework. Again, I wanted to give a shout out to the Reproductive Health Supply Coalition, who has a work stream on menstrual health. And they are combining private sector expertise that they bring in from the reproductive health now into a menstrual hygiene space. They have a wonderful landscape on menstrual supplies that I really recommend everyone to check out, because here you can see data on global usage of menstrual products and also how this increases and is projected. Wonderful data that really helps. They also support in capacity building through market-based approaches and menstrual product standards. So really great work that they do. WASH United and a few of you as well are partners of the Global Menstrual Collective, which is not a registered institutions, but bringing together key global stakeholders for global advocacy. And we work together to fill some gaps in advocacy, especially through reports and data. So I'm really encourage you to check out some of the reports they issued. Especially now, again, I want to highlight one report they did with several private sectors together on demystifying the private sector in menstrual health and hygiene, and also climate change infographic that I think is super interesting for a lot of you. Data collection, I already mentioned, is really critical as a cross-cutting across awareness raising, policy making, and funding. And luckily, there's been data collection increasing, and I pulled out a few reports that came out in the last 2-3 years that are really looking at schools, but also at the region. And for data harmonization, there's now a priority list for girls' menstrual experiences, and the JMP, the Joint Monitoring Report, works really closely. And last but not least, the MHH funding tracker. This is the first central source of information for funding for MHH that you can use for your advocacy. So search the database, where we included funding from various donors on the issue. Unfortunately, private sector is very not very open to reveal how much they donate on MHH, but it's still encouraging to see how many governments are really putting in funding to provide free menstrual products for women and girls. So again, worth checking this out and support this in your advocacy. To close this up, I have 4 asks. 2 are for my MH Day. So if you tweet or if you get active on social media, always use the hashtag period-friendly-world or MH Day 2025, because that helps everyone to get loud. And if you create an event such as this webinar today, please share this with us, because this not only helps us to track, but also we feature selected events on our account. And throughout the year, please stay in contact. For advocacy, please do share your political progress and commitments in your country, because we can leverage that to the Global Menstrual Collective and work. And if you're very welcome to become an official MH Day partner. If you have not done that, there's a partner newsletter and database for that. So with that, I want to thank you and hope we keep in touch.